didn't hook up my good microphone, but how is it going? This is Heather, and you're on the Heather Day Eden Cultures YouTube channel. I just wanted to look at some stuff. Like, I wanted to show you this website that I've been using called, where's it going? Where'd it go? Called Worldometer. Worldometers.info actually is the actual name of the website. And they keep a running tab on all kinds of interesting stuff. And so I've been looking here on this coronavirus situation since January. My brain coffee has not kicked in yet, so. But anyway, so this is an update for June 30th, 2020. There are 10.4 million cases of coronavirus across the world. There have been over 500,000 deaths at this point. Oh my goodness, can my mail app be quiet? And 5.7 million people have recovered. So about half of the people have recovered at this point. Half of the entire volume of people who've caught coronavirus have recovered. If you look at right here, you can see actually more than half because active cases 4.2 million. Only 1% are in serious or critical condition. But then if you look over here at closed cases, there's this confusing 8% death and 92% recovered. So why does that happen? This is the closed cases. So notice everyone that's saying, it's just a flu. Well, the CDC calculates the death rate of the flu at about 0.02%. The death rate for closed cases, which means that they're either recovered or dead, is 8%. So let's see, how many orders of magnitude is that? So from 0.02 to 0.2 would be 1 order of magnitude. To 2% would be 2 orders of magnitude. So, and then another 4 times. So it's just a lot deadlier. But this, yes, we have to look at what percent of the population was elderly, because if there was a lot of the people that are from this cohort or from this group of people that were elderly, then their death rate would be higher. Whereas if it had less young people or less healthy people. So it doesn't mean that your percent chance of death is 8%, okay? But this is wiping out and killing 8% out of all the people in the world. And this is just, sorry, I know it shatters your reality or whatever, but then there are different ways you can look at stuff to see if it's getting better or worse, okay? So, for example, coronavirus, daily new cases. So what this does is it breaks it down. Literally, is it every day or is it, yeah, I think it's literally every day is a bar. And you can see the higher the bar, the more people got it that day. Now, if you look at daily new cases, which, yes, it's true, the media is really focusing on that right now. And I've been saying, hey, but daily deaths are going down. Death rates are going down. So this number, I'm not trying to scare you away. Death rates are going down. This number, a few months ago, when I had the little stay home banner on Facebook, and you guys thought I was crazy, this number was at 16% back then. Okay? It might have even been at 20 at one point. It was really high. Okay? So in case you're wondering why I had that banner up. And so because I was looking at this website. But yeah, the daily cases are exploding and they're doing more tests. So they're going to find more cases, of course. Many of these people are asymptomatic at this point, which back then, that's not the case, right? And also, they're counting positive antibody tests as new cases. So to me, this doesn't, when I know how this data is getting added, I'm actually not as freaked out as the media is making it out to be. Even though I believe the virus is a bioweapon and it's a eugenic bioweapon that is designed to kill off or weaken and turn them into dependents, dependent on the system. It's designed for, minorities and elderly and immunocompromised and all of the people the Nazis hated. It just seems a little too good. This virus is just, to me, it's a conspiracy. Okay, the virus is a eugenic conspiracy. And hopefully the eugenic conspiracy of having a population of 500 million fails. But we know that that is a real conspiracy that exists because it's written in stone on the Georgia Guidestones. But this to me, although they're even though I believe that is a real conspiracy and I believe this virus was possibly an attempt at that, I understand that these are including antibody tests. So what does that mean? Well, there's a PCR test or an antibody test. A PCR test is where they swab you and they run it the saliva, but they're also going to be getting tissue and blood because they're scraping the back of your freaking, like, basically they're digging into your brain. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but they're scraping tissue, kind of like a pap smear, ladies. You know what I'm talking about. It ain't no Q-tip, right? Men like to complain about the Q-tip. No, women know. It isn't a Q-tip. It's got spikes on it. So I don't know if that's what's going on with the coronavirus test or not, but I've heard people say that they intentionally nick the skin. So whatever they're using, that gets sent off and it gets amplified through this thing called PCR, polymerase chain reaction, which is basically replicating whatever DNA is in there. And if it's positive, it's positive, and if it's negative, it's negative. And there are a lot of arguments against PCR because if it were to get contaminated, you could get a false positive. There also could be a false negative. The other type of test is an antibody test, which is more than likely is going to be a blood draw, and they're going to look for certain markers that you've been exposed. A positive antibody test, those are being counted as positive cases. Well, here's the thing. You could be infected if you have a positive antibody test, but you could have also been previously infected and now hold immunity. It could be either one. Another possibility, if you have a positive antibody test, is that you could have been infected with a similar virus. And I don't know how accurate these antibody tests are. My problem with the testing is, number one, there are so many different companies that are rushing these tests to market that there's little to no quality control. I was glued to the screen watching all of the press conferences in the beginning, and they admitted that they did not test these tests. The FDA did not test them. The company said, yes, we've got one. The FDA was like, yes, go ahead. So we don't know the quality control of these tests. So that's what my interpretation of this is. So yes, we had a peak of almost 200,000 daily new cases. Now, of course, this is the world, not America, and I'm going to probably show you America. But across the world, yes, there's been an 8% of people who have caught it have died, of people who've closed cases, not the active cases. So the problem is we've got all these people that are still active and then all these people that have recovered. Do you see that? So, you know, we could easily hit 1 million deaths, but maybe not because the death rate is going down. So even though the cases are going up, the death rate's going down. That's good. As we discover more cases, we discover more asymptomatic cases. I think that's really what Trump is trying to do. And he's saying, you know, we'll find more cases. It is going to help lower the death rate. So, of course, the media wants to focus on the negative. But if you look at, over time, you know, these deaths exploded. This is back when Elmhurst Hospital was doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And it was bad, and people were panicking and making bad decisions, and they didn't know how to treat the patients. And this is back when I had my stay home thing, and I was saying they don't know how to treat this disease. We need to give it some time. They don't know what they're doing. They're making a lot of mistakes. You don't want to get stuck in a crowded hospital. Everyone knows now, and no one can deny that even though most hospitals were not overrun, that hospital and others in New York City were overrun, and the results were devastating for the patients. You can't deny that now. No matter how much denial people have been in throughout this pandemic, whatever the cause of those people being there, we know the result. Okay, so I spoke out against Film Your Hospital, and I told someone they were stupid, and it caused a lot of problems. I didn't mean to. I actually said it was stupid to do that, and then someone came to me and said they had already done it, and I said, well, I don't think you should be doing that. And it caused some problems, but the truth is that we don't want to get hospitals overrun. Whatever the reason the people are there, whether it's 5G or a virus that's a bioweapon or a cold that's been misidentified, whatever your belief system is, whatever it is, we know, we cannot deny that at this time frame, the hospitals in New York, and of course, again, I'm still looking at the world deaths, but I'm trying to make a point, they were overrun, okay? So this is probably has to do with the daily deaths. Let's look at, so you can see the daily deaths have actually decreased, and that's good news. As this goes up, that goes down, and that makes perfect sense. So let's look at America so we don't get messed up. So let's look at America in lieu of other countries and see. So I like this because you can look at today and yesterday and 2 days ago. I like this. America's right at the top, Brazil close trailing behind. This is a running tab, so just today, we've had 13,000 new cases. So again, they're doing PCR testing, they're doing antibody testing, they're counting it all in there. The CDC has admitted it yet. 250 deaths so far today. Well, let's look at yesterday so we can see the whole day. The whole day, 350 46 deaths. So that's pretty good. But look, see, Brazil, unfortunately, is not so lucky, but it's newer to Brazil. And so Brazil doesn't know how to treat it. And that's why I was saying stay home at the beginning of this. Like, now at least they know how to treat it better. Let's go into the USA and see what we can see. So in the United States, we're at almost 2.7 million cases with almost 130,000 deaths. But out of those 2.7 million, we've had 1.12 million recovered. So I don't know if you notice, we have more active cases than closed cases at this point. I would like to show you this, and this is why I've been screaming at you guys, saying, wear a mask just in case. I don't know if it works, but just wear it just in case. In America, right now, of the closed cases, I want you to look at this, and I want you to see it, and I want you to understand it in your brain. 90% of those people recovered, and 10% of them died. Okay? That's what that is. In the United States. Okay? I know it sucks. I know you don't want to hear that. So let's look at projections. Because, like I said, they didn't know how to handle this. Oh, no. Is this the IHM thing? Let me zoom out so y'all can see. I don't even know if I can do this with, let me see if I can shrink my window, y'all. These are the models that have been accused of, like, over-dramatizing things, I guess, basically. You know what I mean? They've been... Because, yes, Fauci and them have their patents on remdesivir. And, God, it's disgusting. Just, you know, the Native Americans don't believe in profiting off of medicine. I think that's an interesting belief. So... what do we have here? I haven't actually looked at this one a lot. It does say United States of America, COVID-19 projections, the trend, the total deaths in March, nothing. April, May, June. So our projection for July, let's see, right there is around, it's really hard, 120,000. Now this is the total deaths, not the daily. So here we go. Look at this. This is what I want you to see. Daily deaths. So that is the peak. Why is it clicking in the wrong place? That's really annoying. I'm trying to get that thing to come over here. There we go. So look at that, not my mouse. That was the peak of daily deaths. April 15th, there were about 2,200 deaths. But look, daily deaths are trending down. Are these projections? Well, from up to here, these are actual data. And the dotted line is a projection. And look, they're projecting a plateau, and then they're projecting one of two. Either it's going to continue to plateau, or it's going to bottom out. And, of course, they're doing that because whatever. Now, let's see. Oh, if we remove masks from the equation, that's what the red line is supposedly represent. If we remove easing, then it could be like that. Still not horrible. And then we just take the projection away. Very interesting little thing. So anyway, daily infections and testing. This is weird because this doesn't seem really accurate because it's not showing estimated infections, current infections. This isn't showing the actual, this is weird why they do not have this activated. They're probably trying to cover up the increase in testing. But I've already showed you this, so that's the point I wanted to make, is the deaths are decreasing. Let me get out of here. Let me get out of the all and go back to here and look at the states. I'd also like to point out to you guys that in a video that my husband and I did the other day called Chris and Heather Talk Florida COVID Surge, and it's on the same channel, we went over the antibody testing in Florida, and there's some really interesting information in that video, and the types of people that hold immunity versus other types, and who tests positive and who doesn't, and you would be, I mean, it's just very interesting to see, and I do think that the population is probably at least 20% permeated, but it's extremely interesting to me that children, 20% of children up to age 4. That screams to me that maybe, just maybe, this is something coming out of vaccines. Something that's been in the vaccines that's contaminating. Kind of like the XMRV retrovirus that came as a contaminated cell line in vaccines. And remember, that's your timer, babe. And remember that vaccinated individuals can still shed. So just because it comes from a vaccine doesn't mean you can't catch it from the air from one of those people or from the air from someone who caught it from the air. Sorry, vaccines can start plagues, but I don't think they can finish them. But anyway, so unfortunately, yes, Florida, I live in Florida, and Florida's blowing up right now, and it's really sad. Texas, you know, these are two conservative states, and they were, you know, ha ha ha, we opened early, meh, meh, meh. But remember, some of these, yes, these new cases are antibody testing. So I think we're going to just keep seeing new information, you know. Today, so far in Florida, already almost 60 people have died. That's horrible. But yesterday, 28 people died. So that's encouraging. 5,000 new cases just yesterday in the state of Florida already today. And it's noon right now. At the time of this recording, there have been 6,000 new cases. Florida is exploding, and they've started a mass border. So I guess that's all the information I really have for right now, but I just wanted to keep in mind, like, remember, this doesn't mean your chance of death if you catch coronavirus is 10%, but 10% of the people. Okay? Oh, and I guess we can go look at Florida. Let's go look at Florida. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't need to look at all of the different counties, but I do want to look at the Florida COVID dashboard a little bit, but we did that in our other video as well, so you should just tune into that, because, yeah, lots of really good information there. So I hope you got something out of this video. I'm not trying to make any judgments. If I could do a third video, I'd do it on exponential growth. I don't think people know what that is, but it's kind of what we're experiencing right now in Florida. So let me see if I can go back to the what do you call it? These right here. So let's rate this real quick. Remember, this is the world, or this is the world. So the daily deaths, see, have dropped. The linear, these are total deaths. See how it switches to total? So it looks like it's getting worse and worse, but each day it maybe not. Logarithmic total deaths. So I hope that this just means that it's going to, whatever, but this is what you call exponential growth. So here is each day it's going up. But if you look at the total cases, do you see how it's going up? The more strong the curve, like the more straight up it goes, that's exponential. Exponential means to exponent. So like one day there's 7.4, and then the next day, you know, if it really has an R naught, which is, an R naught is a value that they use to measure how contagious it is. If it has an R naught that makes it really virulent, then it can double like every day. And then you get huge exponential growth. So this one is not obviously doubling every day, but it doubled in a week in Florida recently. So here's our total. Now, if you look at this logarithmic, that's nice, but logarithmic is an entirely different thing. It's showing the trend of how it's increasing or decreasing. So instead of showing the actual increase, it's showing how fast or slow, I guess. So you can see that the increase is slowing down because it was going really fast. And then now the increase is slowing down, but it's still increasing overall. It's just increasing at a slower pace. This is more about the acceleration. I hope that makes sense to you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Over 80% of people who watch my videos are not subscribers, which is sad because I do content like this all the time. So go ahead and hit the like button if you thought this was refreshing. And check out the other video if you want to see more about Florida in particular and learn how to look at the COVID dashboard. And subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button. I don't pander, okay? If I'm not giving you quality information or mediocre music, I don't waste your time. Peace.